My name is Donovan Mitchell. I am the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. I've been in professional baseball since 1992, which spans about 29 years, going on my 30th. I started out as a minor league player for the Houston Astros. I got to AAA. I played 7 years and made a few all-star teams, had a pretty decent career. I just never got the opportunity to make it to the big leagues. The year that I got released was 1999, and I started coaching immediately with the New York Mets. I started out in the Gulf Coast League. And the first year we won the championship, so I was kind of hooked on coaching, and I did that for 10 years until 2011. Where I started working in the Mets front office as the manager of player relations. And then I became the director of player relations and community outreach. Up until this past June, I was still in that role. And then with the recent incident with George Floyd and some of the social unrest, the Mets wanted to go in a different direction, and they felt I was the guy to help lead our diversity, equity, and inclusion department. You know, we have a new ownership, new management group. So as far as what we're doing, we're trying to address or we're trying to look at where our strengths are diversity-wise, equity and inclusion-wise. And then we're looking at where our weaknesses may be. With new ownership, they're inheriting the employees from the previous regime. So what they're trying to do is just find out more about the people that they have in place right now, finding out where we're strong, where we're weak, where we need some help. And by bringing in new people, and we're just really trying to get ourselves moving in the right direction. Like I said, a lot of people who were here were inherited by the Cohen family. So we're just trying to find out where our strengths and weaknesses are, what departments need to do more, what departments are pretty solid, and overall, how can we continue moving in the right direction? We need opportunities. That no longer are we in situations where we don't have people who are qualified. Now we have to just be a little bit more intentional in hiring those minorities into the sport. A lot of times, this person doesn't have experience. It's hard for you to gain experience if someone doesn't give you an opportunity. And, I think that we as an organization, we're going to start giving more minorities opportunities. We're looking forward to it. But I think overall, the sports landscape is that in itself, where you have to be intentional in your hiring and give people opportunities. And once you do that, your thinking and your brand becomes a little bit different. So, I think that's one of the biggest things. We can honor minorities, we can honor women, we can honor Black History Month. We can do all that. But if these groups, these particular minorities are not getting opportunities, we're pretty much just standing in the same place. I look at it two different ways. I know that when I was growing up, I didn't have to be taught that. It was more so about respecting the people who you're around. Didn't matter whether they were Black, white, male, female. It was more about respecting the person. I think that needs to be taught at a younger age, as far as treating people the way you want to be treated and better. I think that's one of the things that's why I really feel like I've never really had an issue as far as race, as far as me feeling a certain way about a person because of their color, because I've always treated people with respect. And I always ask for that respect back. And that was taught to me at a young age. So I think that is more important. I think if you start teaching young kids about gender and everything else, I think that's important. But I think it's more about respect. And I think all that comes into play when kids are dealing with other kids. If you just teach kids about respect, it's not that they don't see, it's not that they don't see race, and it's not that they don't see all those other things, but that's not the big deal to them. It's more so, hey, you know what? That's my friend. And I think our younger generation right now, I think with everything that's going on with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, you see black and white kids, and male and female, they're walking together. They're all speaking out against social injustices, because now it's more so, hey, that's my friend. It's not about his color. It's my friend. It's a person that I go to work with. It's a person that I hang out with. So I think that's important. Teaching it at a young age how to respect people for who they are. You see these athletes every day. And in order to drive a point home, I think it needs to be on your mind every day. So I think it's important that our athletes speak up. Some of these athletes have a platform to where they can say something and people follow. I think you don't get as much if it's a person who's not in the spotlight speaking up for social change. Colin Kaepernick did it. It cost him his career, but look where we are right now. We're still fighting that same fight. Same thing with Dr. King and all the civil rights people before him. We're still fighting the same fight. So I think now that you have entertainers, you have athletes, you have people who have a stage who can speak out against it, then I think it's important. It's not just athletes. I think athletes are seen, and they're seen as role models by kids, but I think that's anyone who has a platform and who could speak about social injustice or racial equality or treating people fairly. I think they should speak up. Need to keep pointing out when when we are facing issues. I think we have trainings that we do, unconscious bias trainings and everything else. But I think what we need to do is to continue to give people that information, whether it's, through lectures, through trainings, through people coming in, speaking to your organizations. I think that's important. And I think that's one of the things that we're going to do. We have a speaker series that we're giving to all of our employers that teach them about different people's issues. We have business resource groups also, and we have one for our Latin group. We have one for our women's group, Black professionals, military veterans, LGBTQ, and it's about people just learning what other people go through on their daily basis. If I know what you go through on a daily basis as an American or as a male or as an African American or as a white male, whatever, if I know you, it's easier for us to work together. It's easier for us to produce more if we have a feel for that person. But if I'm rigid and I don't want to know anything about you and I'm giving you assignments and I don't know what you're going through, I might not be able to get the best out of you. So I think it's important that you educate yourselves about who you're working with, some of the issues that they might be going through. And I think it makes for a more productive workspace. I would say education. I would say educate. Let's talk diversity first. In an organization or a job setting, I think in order for you to get the most out of your employees, like I said before, you have to have different mindsets. You have to have different people who can reach out to different areas of, for us in our situation with the Mets, you need to have representation, because we live in a very diverse New York State. We live very diverse. So you need to have representation from whether it's LGBTQ, Latino, Black male, Black professionals, females. You need that. If we're trying to be one of the best organizations in the game, you need that representation to be able to reach your fan base. That's one of the things. As far as inclusion, don't just have people there. You need to invite them in, and you need to make them feel like they're part of the process. I know with the Mets, with our business resource groups, our employees now have a say-so as to what direction the organization is going. That's a change. That's something that's positive. Now I'm a part of the process of making us better, rather than just taking orders all the time. My opinion is being heard. So now it's like, wow, I can say something that could possibly help this organization move in the right direction. My boss wants to know how I feel. My boss wants to know my opinion. He wants to know what I think about this project or this group that we're trying to target or whatever it might be. Now it's like, I'm included. I love coming to work now because I know I can make a change, or I can possibly make a change. So, and then you talk about accountability. I think everybody should be accountable for their actions. Organizations should be held to a higher standard. I think we all should be held to a higher standard. But as far as accountability, I think you need to answer for the things that you do. And the good thing about our new ownership, they told us they're going to hold us accountable. They're going to allow us to do our jobs, but they're going to hold us accountable. And I think that makes people feel good, knowing that, hey, I'll be allowed to do my job and I'm being held accountable. And it makes people think, and it makes people try to make the right decisions, the best decisions. They're not just going to be all, just willy-nilly and I'm just going to do it. Now it's like, okay, I'm going to be held accountable for a decision that I made. I'm going to make sure I make the best decision. So when someone comes back to me, I have the reasons why I did it, and this is why I felt it was going to work. So I don't mind being held accountable. This is not just a baseball thing or a sports thing. I think that you have to be intentional in your hiring process. And I think then you start to get the differences of opinions, different thought processes, by having a more diverse workforce. I think that is the biggest thing. And I also think education, whether it's training or whatever, I think those are the things that are going to help not just the business, the kids around here, being educated, being held accountable. Those are the things that are going to move the needle. And then you have to be intentional. I really, really believe that you have to be intentional in bringing people in. Like I said, if you don't have a diverse workforce, you don't have a group of people, if you have too many like-minded thinking, then you're going to have the same, you're going to have the same thing over and over again. You need to be able to expand. You need to be open-minded to different experiences. And I think if you're intentional with hiring different people, you're going to get different things. I think it works best that way.